Chapter 11. Prayer, Power and Ponderings. Jesus prayed a lot. He knew it was really important to keep in touch with his Father in heaven. Not only did he pray a lot, he was really good at it. So one day, his mates asked him to teach them. "Do it like this," he said. "Dad in heaven, please help us to remember how awesome you are. Let what you want happen here on earth. Provide for us every day everything that we need, and please forgive us when we do wrong. Help us to forgive others who do wrong to us too, and help us not to be lured into things that are no good." That is a pretty awesome prayer. Kind of covers it all really, doesn't it? Then Jesus told another story. Imagine you're about to go to bed when a friend you haven't seen in ages turns up. It's awkward because he really wants to come in, but you've got no food to give him, and actually you just want to go to sleep, but he's really hungry and he won't go away. I suppose you might go over the street and hammer on your neighbour's door trying to persuade him to help you out. "Go away," he'd probably say. "We're all in bed. I'm not getting up to give you snacks." But if you keep on asking, he will give you what you need. Not because he's your neighbour, but because you wouldn't go away until you got what you needed. Ask and you'll get. Search and you'll find. Knock and the door will open. It's true for everyone. If a kid is hungry, what kind of decent dad would give him a snake instead of some fish, or a scorpion instead of an egg? Even though you're not the best people, you do still know how to look after children. So think about it. Your dad in heaven always wants to give you good things. He's ready to give the Holy Spirit to you. Just ask. People were starting to realise that Jesus was a powerful guy. He kept on healing people and chucking out evil spirits everywhere he went. But a few people started to get a little bit suspicious. How could Jesus do these things? He must be using the devil's power to get rid of evil spirits. How else could he be doing it? Show us a sign from God if that's who you're really from. Jesus turned to face them. In a place where there's always fighting, in the end it will be a great big mess. Families that always fight don't often stay together. If the devil is doing what you see, why would he get rid of his own evil spirits? How would he ever get anywhere? If I use the devil's power to get rid of evil spirits, what about those who follow your ways? What power do they use? But if I use God's power to get rid of them, then it proves that God is already here with you. When an evil spirit goes away from someone, it looks for somewhere else to go. But if it can't find anywhere, then it tries to go back to the person it came from. When it realises that the person is all fixed up, it rounds up a gang of evil spirits to make itself stronger, and then it goes back and sets up home again in that person's life. This is scary stuff. And that's why it's so important to know that Jesus has power over these things. Jesus is reminding the crowd that it's all well and good to get rid of evil, but it must be replaced with good. If you're not with me, then you're against me. If you're not on my side, then you must be on the other. Suddenly, a woman shouted out from the crowd, "Jesus, your mum must be really blessed by God." "Yeah, she is," said Jesus. "But the people who are really, really blessed are the ones who listen to what God says and then get on and do it." "Why do you all keep looking for a sign from God?" Jesus said in a loud voice, and everyone suddenly shut up. "The only thing you'll see from God is what Jonah saw. Jonah was a sign to Nineveh, just like the Son of Man is a sign to you." Did you know Jonah was a messenger from God who spent some time in a town called Nineveh? He once tried to run away from God and spent several nights inside a giant fish. He was then puked up by the fish onto a beach. He probably stank for quite a while. To find out more about Jonah's story, grab a Bible and have a look for a book in it called, well, Jonah. The people of Nineveh turned to God when Jonah gave them his message. And right now, here, today, you're seeing something far more awesome than Jonah. Then Jesus reminded the crowds about the whole light under a bowl thing. You remember, I'm sure, we talked about it way back in chapter 8. But this time, he added something new. You see, your eyes are like lights for your body. If your eyes are good, you've got the light you need. If not, then the world is going to look pretty dark. Make sure you stick with the light and let your light shine everywhere. Did you know Jesus describes himself as the light of the world? Interesting. If you have a Bible, you can look that up in John chapter 8, verse 12. Jesus had been speaking to the crowds for a long time. So when one of the Pharisees invited him to dinner, he went straight over and sat down for food. Super posh fish biscuits tonight. Normally, people are supposed to wash their hands before eating, but Jesus didn't bother. The Pharisees thought this was a bit odd, and maybe even a little bit rude. So Jesus said to them, "It's not what's on the outside that matters, you know. You people wash all your dishes, your cups, pots and pans, but on the inside, you're still dirty. You're greedy and mean. Don't you realize that God can see what's on the inside as well as what's on the outside? You think you can get away with just following the rules, giving a bit of this and a bit of that, but when you cheat people the rest of the time and don't even try to love God, it's not like he doesn't notice. You should treat everyone fairly and be kind to them and give some of what you have back to God. You sit on the front row all the time, trying to look good and make sure everyone knows it, but you don't get it. You're not getting anywhere." The other guests had been staring at Jesus, their frowns getting bigger by the minute. "Excuse me," said one of the men, who was a teacher of the law. "You've just said some pretty mean things about us right there." "You're no better," said Jesus. "You tell people they must do this and they must do that, but you don't try to help them. You talk about God's messengers from hundreds of years ago as if you respected what they said, but it was your people who killed them and wouldn't listen. God sent those people to you to try and show you the right way to go, to try and show you how much he loved you, but you killed them. You ignored them. You wouldn't listen. Do you really think God won't punish you? You teachers of the law, you know so much about God, but you never put it into practice. You never work on your relationship with him, and you stop other people doing the same." Now there was a room full of frowns. Everyone was really annoyed with what Jesus had said to them. I mean, they'd invited him to dinner. How dare he be so rude? Jesus got up to go, but the men were so cross with him they wouldn't let him. They wanted to see if they could make him say something he shouldn't, make him say something that was obviously wrong, just so that they could catch him out and get revenge on him for pointing out how nasty they were. Was Jesus really being mean? Why did these men not like what he said? What do you think he was really saying?